And I'm back. This is the GJRB Schedule Update Podcast. I'm Gary Russen. Thanks a lot for tuning in today, as we're just doing a live program schedule, talking about what I'm going to be doing with GJRB in March, April, and even into the summer. And as I told you earlier, what I plan on doing with the programming and the new ideas that I have planned. At the end of the last segment, I kind of thought, well, I wonder if I'm doing anything. I'm not really doing anything bad here. I just think it's kind of a cool idea to purposely disconnect the computer off the internet and see how much Spreaker gives me for each time that I'm off. I don't know how that would work. I don't know if I could do it through a break. It would probably be like maybe 5 or 6 or 7 extra minutes. I don't know exactly what I get. But I wanted to try it within about maybe 15 minutes into this segment. If I do, and it's interesting how this all works, I'll probably talk a little longer. Other than that, this will probably be more than likely the last part. Because I have other things I want to do today. And that is get the playlist lined up for Crooners for Friday, and what else? I think that's it. Crooners for Friday. Darn, I can't remember anything anymore. I hate when I do. I hate when that happens. Crooners for Friday, and see, I lose my head. Crooners for Friday, and radio, television, movie classics, and I'm going to see if I can get a hold of Ben Osan to make sure that we got a scheduled air dates confirmed, and that he will be able to be a guest on my show on Saturday, because we want to talk about news and stuff. So I'm really hoping that we can get that established on Saturday. But like I said earlier, I really don't see where that should be a problem. Having fun with that. And it would do me good, because that could, if this works the way I think it's going to work, and we do this and I get additional time, then I could probably be okay until I get my 3-hour plan. At least I could I could take my 45-minute plan and expand it by, and I might get other people who may be listening to this podcast ideas, try this. If it works for me, I'm going to tell all my podcasters to do it that have short programs that can afford the 3-hour plan, or whatever plan that has the expanded broadcast. If you're only broadcasting for 45 minutes, and I mean, but for Blake, any of it, if this works, do it. Disconnect off the computer for like maybe 5-10 minutes. I'm going to try 10 this time. I might just do a short 10-minute break and be off for like 10 minutes, and then go plug it back in. And just to see what I get as far as how much longer I can talk. How much longer I can make my segments, especially if I'm doing an interview segment and I won't have to interrupt. Like, let's say, for example, I have Ben on for like a short time, but I'll say, Ben, hang on a minute. Could you call back? And what I would do is I would purposely disconnect the computer from the internet, just the computer, not the internet. Now, the other Saturday I made a mistake and Saturday made a mistake and disconnected the modem. And that kind of screwed it up. I thought, no, I don't want to do that, because, if I can do this when, any time. I'm by myself right now. But let's say if at any time I were to do this when she's home, she'd get the internet, but I would just disconnect temporarily from the internet in here, just on this computer. All right, and let's say I just disconnect for like about 5, maybe 10 minutes at a time. All right. let's say I do a 5-minute newscast locally, the local 9-foot signal, which is my Talk FM 108 or Spreaker FM, which is, and my 9-foot signal and GJRB or Fox. I don't care. I consider myself an affiliate of the Fox network. Okay, the Fox Radio News Talk. I consider myself a Fox affiliate, so I carry Fox News. All right. I like Fox News, and I believe in it. I don't care what anybody says. They can say anything they want against Fox News. I like Fox News. So I'm a Fox affiliate. So I carry a 9-foot signal. I carry the Fox newscast. So I carry, maybe do a local newscast. I would do that. I would have it disconnected and just do something local. Then plug it in within about maybe 6, 7, 8 minutes and come back on just to see how much time I'd be able to broadcast on my Spreaker. It would probably take me well over an hour before it's done, which would be probably cool because I don't know really how that would turn out in the long run, as far as, let's say, trying to get, I mean, I could do it. I wouldn't see where it wouldn't work. But like I said before, I don't know. Is it cheating? Maybe. Maybe it's cheating to get more time on my session. I don't know. It probably is. But shoot, Lori and I pay for this internet service, okay? And if I want to disconnect off of it real briefly to see if I can get extended time on my Spreaker session, why not? It would be any different than, let's say, clicking out of it and going into the next part and making a new broadcast. By ending this segment and going to the next one. I'm just going offline for maybe 5-10 minutes. It wouldn't really make a freaking difference. So, whatever. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I wanted to do it. I'll be doing a break, and then when I return, I'm going to talk about a few things. One of is the extended time on my Spreaker. I'm going to talk about the broadcaster plan, but I'm going to kind of revert now into the tight programs, the programs that are written ahead of time. So we're going to talk about that next as I return to the GJRB Schedule Update podcast right after we take this break.
Imagine one day tuning around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs complete with commercials and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radio Land. A day of nothing but classic radio shows back to back with classic commercials in between. Like the days of radio. Almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radio Land.
Coast to coast and way out there, fans, listen up. If you like UFO conspiracies, ghosts, and the paranormal, you'll love Spaced Out Radio, Spreaker's answer to Coast AM, with more interesting guest experts in the paranormal and UFOs each month. If you like Way Out There, you'll love Spaced Out Radio. Own the night with Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott, nightly at 11 p.m. Central, 12 o'clock midnight Eastern, and 9 p.m. Pacific, on Spreaker, on Periscope, and on D-Talk Radio Network. We all run a busy schedule, and maybe we don't have time to catch the Gary Russen program. Well, here's the solution. The best of the Gary Russen program, highlighting the most memorable parts of recent shows. Each podcast I will play clips of previous shows and talk about them. Watch for podcast uploads during the GJRB's podcast weekend on GJRB's public site on Spreaker. Reflecting on the past memories of past shows. The best of the Gary Russen program on GJRB.
The blues. The primary start to rock and roll music. The music in which artists express their feelings through music. This is a new blues show featuring the best of the blues, with new emerging artists getting their thrill of hearing their selections played along with the greats like Muddy Waters, B.B. King, and Etta James, along with a whole lot more.
The doors open soon.
To the Blues House on GJRB. End times are upon us, and we need to know what's happening. Knowing the truth is key to survival. There are lots of news events going on in the world that have certain significance to end time happenings. Listen, as men and women gather to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy on the last 7 days. Uploaded as a podcast Wednesdays and run live every third Friday at 12 o'clock noon Central on GJRB. Suicide's increasing among the youth, and many of them playing suicide games. This has to stop. Parents, watch your kids, and if you feel there's something going on and they are considering suicide, please talk to them, help them. And if it seems hopeless, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. That number is 1-800-273-8255. They can help. It's free and confidential. Your call will be answered by a trained counselor in a local crisis center. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline can help.
There's a problem on our roads today, and that is the safety of our children boarding and getting off the bus on busy roads. That problem is drivers who don't stop for a school bus when the arm is out, the lights are flashing, and the stop sign is out, leaving kids in danger of getting hit. Violators of this law could get a suspension of their driver's license and a $250 fine. When you see a school bus stop at a corner, letting off kids, stop 25 feet away from the bus. Don't take that chance. A public service announcement from the National Highway Safety Administration and GJRB Online.
If you're a new emerging artist and want your songs out there, the place to go is Reverb Nation. Reverb Nation, a website purely devoted to new music from new artists from every town and every state in the U.S. If you're a solo artist and recording your own music, it's Reverb Nation. Stop on by, visit, listen to the music, check out the site, www.reverbnation.com. Put your music out there and gain an audience. Go to Reverb Nation for the best in new music. And remember, if you like your songs played on GJRB Online is up and coming, drop me an email at GaryJ65@yahoo.com. And I'll be playing your song on all GJRB Online shows. Remember the name, Reverb Nation.
Okay, we're back on the air here on GJRB Online, and we're trying this little experiment. As you will notice, it's a split experiment and the GJRB Schedule Update podcast. Now, I disconnected off the internet for an approximate time of about maybe, I'd say, 7 minutes. I'm going to go with that. 7 minutes when I disconnected offline. The computer off the internet modem. Okay, just the computer off the internet modem. All right, now I'm watching the clock and seeing how this is going to work. Now we have 31 minutes and 27 seconds left at about 18 minutes in. Okay, so this is interesting. Okay, I'm going to watch how this goes. All right, so we're going to keep on broadcasting. And we're going to see how this is going to all work out here. Meanwhile, let's just continue talking about what I was talking about before. Let's go to now my tight radio programs. Okay, these are programs that are initially tight. Programs that I do that are tight. What I mean by tight is this, okay? All my programs that I write and produce, these are shows like Way Out There, radio, television, and movie classics, some Gary Russen programs, sometimes Swing Time, if I'm doing a show on a certain spotlight artist, and again, Up and Coming, which I talked about earlier. These are some of the programs that had to be written and produced because I do certain features with them. Whether it be a music show with a spotlight artist, or radio, television, and movie classics, which is a program where I talk a lot about classic TV shows, and I do a lot of research into the classic commercials and the promos and the spots, the TV, the old TV bumpers, various things like that, old network bumpers, stuff that I always do with this program. And it takes a lot of research to put this program on, because there's a lot of things that I have to look for as far as finding out what kind of shows, and it does. It takes a lot of work to produce this kind of program. And it takes, I have to go in and do research, finding different things. And so, and a lot of the segments have to be timed out, because I have certain segments that I do that are run about, on average, most of my segments, especially on radio, television, movie classics, runs about maybe 15 minutes tops. 15 to 20 minutes on some segments. Some segments can go as long as 25 minutes, depending on what I've got, especially way out there. Way out there right now, I'm doing that segment on technocracy, which runs about maybe, at most, I usually run about almost a half hour to 25 minutes, because it's such an interesting interview, and it's a length of an interview. So I usually go 25, maybe a half hour on it, or something like that. And future way out there's are going to be like Coast to Coast and Dave Scott's program, where I spend maybe 2 hours, 3 hour show, spending, he does 2.5 hours with a guest, usually about 11 o'clock p.m. to 1:30 with a guest, with the last half hour of news, which is kind of a neat idea. I kind of like that format. I do like that format. Dave Scott does. He does it really good. And I thought, I could do a format like that if I have enough guests. If I have a guest that I could have on for that period of time, I could probably do maybe an hour or two with a guest, and have the last hour with news. So, I mean, it could go either way, especially Saturday when I do the Gary Russen program, Saturday Extra, with Ben Osman. I would do this where I would first disconnect off the internet. I'll have him call me back, or I would call him back, okay, and say, I'm doing an experiment, and say, I'm doing it this way. I temporarily disconnect the computer, I temporarily pull the computer offline for about 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes at least. That's the length of a hard break. Okay, so let's say we do a hard break on Saturday at 3:30. Well, it runs about maybe 4.5 to 5 minutes offline with the local spots running. Then come back online and see where I'm at there. Okay, so that's in maybe the first 30 minutes of the program I'm offline. In the first 30 minutes of the program, I do my regular bit. Then when I go into the hard break, I go offline instead of running a hard break, spot break. And then that would be a silent, in other words, it's the same as going offline. So I take that half-hour break, and then 5 minutes, I go off for 5 minutes anyway. Because I've done that with hard breaks before, where I just kind of go offline for 5 minutes and run the local on my 9-foot signal, and then come back on live on Spreaker. I do that from time to time anyway. So it would be not only different than doing that. So like I said before, I really don't see what's wrong with doing it this way. If I can gain time on my Spreaker public site and gain the time I want to, do this program. So that's something I'm working with. And I think that it would be interesting to see how this comes out. Now, as it goes toward the end. Now, this happened to me once when I was on the air. I was like toward the end of my segment, and I look up and I have more time on my countdown. Because I look at my countdown more than I look at my forward time when I look at the Spreaker console anyway. I always look at my countdown time to see how much time I have left. And I kind of say, okay, look at that, 25 and 20. I get 25 minutes in with 25 left. Okay, now, I don't know if I would take a break again for 5 minutes to see what would happen. Again, that would be kind of interesting to see what that would happen there. But I'm going to let it go further because I'm not going to be on. This is going to be my last segment. So I want to make this really quick and easy. But let's just see what it does. And if for any reason I do take another break, it would be to see if I can go longer. So right now, we're going to talk about the tight shows. Okay, I'm going to talk about those for now. And I'm looking at I was listening to Ed Delgado the other. By the way, Ed, if you're listening, or later on listening to this podcast, you had a good show the other night. Tuesday night, you had a really good show. I was listening to that. Fabulous, interesting stuff. And and I like I said, it was real interesting. I really enjoyed that program. And I was listening on my tablet in the living room, because sometimes I'll do that as opposed to listening in here. Just spend some time with my wife, but sometimes we just sit and watch TV together, and she'll fall asleep anyway. And so what I'll do is listen to Ed Delgado. I listen to you, Ed, on my tablet, on my Spreaker. I have the Spreaker app on here, and I noticed that they play commercials at the break point. So let's say you go off the air and you play commercials. Yeah, it does. It plays commercials after you go off the air. If I were to probably go offline on here, I'm wondering if it would play a commercial. I'm not sure. I was just checking. I was just checking. Okay, I was just checking to see, just out of curiosity, if it would do that. I'm just kind of playing around with it now because I'm seeing no, it's just playing. I think that only goes if you are on a upper plan. It might do that. I'm not sure, but it was kind of interesting the other night, and I thought, I wonder if it would do that for me when I go offline, if it plays a commercial. And I thought, what a neat idea. What a novel idea, especially if I can line up my programs and play everything off the thing here, and I take my breaks and it would go to a commercial. And I would have that, it would just be plain automation, and I'd go back on. So I don't know, that's cool. I don't know. I try all kinds of fun stuff. I like to do something different to make my show interesting. I try to reinvent myself in many, many ways. And, anywho, here I am squirreling again. So let's get back to focusing on what I'm talking about. Tight programs, okay? As I have about 21 minutes, 49 seconds left to go, and we're 28 minutes in. Okay, 28 minutes in with 21 left. Okay? So I really don't know if that's going to extend for me. If it ends, it ends. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I would probably have to briefly disconnect and then go back on again to see what that would do. But it would be if I were to take another break. But let's just spend about maybe 5 more minutes talking about tight shows. 5 to 10 more minutes. And then we're going to close out anyway, because I got other things I got to do. I got to do laundry. I got to work on my loading lists for crooners and radio, television, and movie classics, get my board set up and everything for Friday, so for tomorrow. So we'll be on the air tomorrow live at 1 o'clock Central Time, right here on GJRB Online for crooners and radio, television, movie classics. I'm doing a full 5 hours from 1 until 6 p.m. Doing radio, television, and movie classics. Okay? We got a great show lined up. We got some good stuff we're going to talk about. It's going to be trivia. It's going to be fun. You're going to want to listen tomorrow afternoon, starting 1 o'clock Central with Crooners right here on GJRB Online. But for right now, I just want to talk about these type programs. Again, getting back to what I was saying before without going off the beaten track here. Okay. All right. I think this is going to give me 50 minutes before I take it. So I'm going to take a promo break, and I'll be right back with more in just a moment.
The blues. The primary start of rock and roll music. The music in which artists express their feelings through music. This is a new blues show featuring the best of the blues, with new emerging artists getting their thrill of hearing their selections played along with the greats like Muddy Waters, B.B. King, and Etta James, along with a whole lot more.
The doors open soon.
To the Blues House on GJRB. End times are upon us, and we need to know what's happening. Knowing the truth is key to survival. There are lots of news events going on in the world that have certain significance to end-time happenings. Listen, as men and women gather to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy on the last 7 days. Uploaded as a podcast Wednesdays and run live every third Friday at 12 o'clock noon Central on GJRB. Suicide's increasing among the youth, and many of them playing suicide games. This has to stop. Parents, watch your kids, and if you feel there's something going on and they are considering suicide, please talk to them, help them. And if it seems hopeless, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. That number is 1-800-273-8255. They can help. It's free and confidential. Your call will be answered by a trained counselor in a local crisis center. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline can help.
There's a problem on our roads today, and that is the safety of our children boarding and getting off the bus on busy roads. That problem is drivers who don't stop for a school bus when the arm is out, the lights are flashing, and the stop sign is out, leaving kids in danger of getting hit. Violators of this law could get a suspension of their driver's license and a $250 fine. When you see a school bus stop at a corner, letting off kids, stop 25 feet away from the bus. Don't take that chance. A public service announcement from the National Highway Safety Administration and GJRB Online.
If you're a new emerging artist and want your songs out there, the place to go is Reverb Nation. Reverb Nation, a website purely devoted to new music from new artists from every town and every state in the U.S. If you're a solo artist and recording your own music, it's Reverb Nation. Stop on by, visit, listen to the music. Check out the site, www.reverbnation.com. Put your music out there and gain an audience. Go to Reverb Nation for the best in new music. And remember, if you like your songs played on GJRB Online's Up and Coming, drop me an email at GaryJ65@yahoo.com. And I'll be playing your song on all GJRB Online shows. Remember the name, Reverb Nation.